Hello guys, I am back and today I wanted to give you some tips on course selection. I know my school doesn't do it until a little bit later. My date is July 24th, I believe. Some schools have already done this, so I'm sorry if I missed you. But I thought I would still spew some tips at you now, and if you come across this next year, it's always worth it, right? First of all, the general thing that I have to do is I'm given a time and a date to go on, and I have to go on to my student information system. I know a lot of schools, you have to log on to like your school website. Your school will tell you, they'll send you an email telling you most likely. And then I have to log in there, and then you can go through, and if you have a set major, like if you're an engineering student, a lot of the time you just have to click first year engineering and then you choose like one elective. Or if you're like me and you have a school with a little more wiggle room, I gotta go in and individually pick my classes and then like build my own schedule from that. Here's some tips if you have to go build your own schedule that may help you out a little bit. The first one is to pre-plan. I'm doing this now. Usually you can go on and put in the upcoming term, like fall 2013 for mine, and it'll tell you what prof is teaching what class, which classes are offered, the time of the class, and the time of the exam. This is super helpful because you want to be able to plan your classes not back-to-back necessarily, and definitely not at the same time because they won't let you do that. You'll also learn that some classes aren't offered. As a CRIM student, I need to take my CRIM 101, 103, 104, 131, and 135. And for example, CRIM 135, which is the more advanced law class, isn't offered in fall semesters, it's only offered in the spring, so I took it last spring. Whereas 131, at least for me this semester, isn't even offered at my campus. It's only offered at the other campus or distance education, so I have to think about that. This is also helpful because it'll give you exam times, and as much as the exams usually won't be overlapping, you don't want them back to back. My first semester of university, I didn't look at my exam times at all, and I signed up for my classes, and my classes ended up having their exams the 6th, 7th, and 8th, back to back to back, and they were the first 3 days of exams. So I went straight from classes straight into exams, and my 3 exams in a row. I stressed out, my laptop was also broken at the time, so I just cried a lot about that. And it was not a good time. Second is to look outside of your major. If it does let you build your own schedule and you can't get all the classes that you want, do venture outside and see if there's other things that interest you. I personally really enjoy English. I was a really good English student in high school, so although I'm majoring in criminology, I've also taken 2 English classes just because they make you a more well-rounded student and they're fun. They make my course a little bit easier for me, so that's why I take them. The next one is things that students generally will not know if they're just coming into university, and you'll learn very fast that you want your lecture and your tutorial to be very close to each other. I know kids who get their lecture on a Monday morning and they don't get their tutorial till a Wednesday night, and they don't even know what talked about in that class between those 2 times, especially if you have 3 lectures in between that lecture and that tutorial. Most of them are offered right afterwards, so I'd say try to get the tutorial that's offered right after the lecture, even if it means you only have 10 minutes to race there. It's gonna be on your mind, you're gonna know what the class was on. Make sure it's on your campus. This is another thing. I thought some of my classes were offered for me. I looked more into it and they were only offered in the Surrey campus of my school, which is like an hour away and I don't want to go to. So make sure that you're looking at the right campus of your school, because you do not want to commute, especially if you live on residence and you move there to be closer to your school. Rate My Professor is your best friend. If you don't know anything about professors, go on Rate My Professor, and a lot of the time those will be true. A lot of the students put their opinions on there and they'll either be good or bad, and if there's a bunch of negative opinions, maybe you want to wait out a semester and take that class with a different prof. Just a thought. Only take what you can handle. 4 classes is still a 4 course load at most schools, so don't be like, think that you're worse than anyone because you're only taking 4 classes. I take 4 classes, and that is a lot of classes for me, especially if they're 4 credit classes. So don't be worried about taking 5 classes, because that is a lot of school. Also, if you can't get into a class that you want because it is full, kids will drop out as the semester goes on. There's a few classes that I could not get to because I got a late date, but people start taking the class, they realize it's hard, they drop out. So you can always wait the 2 weeks, first 2-3 weeks of classes, and kids will drop out and keep checking back. That's how I got into one of my CRIM classes last semester, because I snagged like the last spot in one of them. And do it as soon as you possibly can is my last tip. This is a big one. Classes fill up like crazy, and if you are given July 24th at 2:30 in the afternoon, you want to be on there before 2:30 or exactly at 2:30 to check out, because the longer you wait, the less classes you are going to get into that you want to. Sorry to spewed a bunch of information at you, but that is all I have to say. I hope this helps some of you guys out. As always, my links are down there, and feel free to leave any requests, and I'll see you guys later.